let me know how far I can get.
You better stand right there the whole time.
Okay, which is funny because I move around a lot.
It's funny. I'll
All
just
right.
go.
So thanks for coming today. My name is Karen Smythe. I'm with the Ben Kinney team in Atlanta. We are a national company within Keller Williams. Keller Williams being the #1 real estate company in the world. Today we're going to talk about reigniting our purchase ability and our purchase plan, our process for a home. And the part that I want you to understand is that purchasing a home is a very big responsibility, and we don't take it lightly on this team. In fact, our mission is to deliver the dream of home ownership to everyone, because we know that home ownership has a lot of emotional attachment to it, and it's where the home is, where the heart is, essentially. But that's one of our missions, is to be able to deliver that to people. Renters, the average renter is worth about between $4,000 and $8,000 dollars, and the average homeowner is actually worth $160,000 to $180,000. So from an asset perspective, when you have the ability to be able to purchase something, you have the ability to do a lot of other things, and it gives you a lot of empowerment. So it's really something we take very seriously, and our mission is to make sure that you're successful at it. So we do these seminars often so that people learn the process. Too often people embark on this process without the information, and then they're left uncomfortable or scared, or there's a lot of fear, okay? So with your permission, I'm going to start with the conversation. We actually have a full project, a full presentation and books and things that we're going to leave you with, so let me start. One of the things people associate with love or connection is someone's home. So if you think about the things that we need to survive, it's breathing air, food, and a home, a place to live. When you have those things, those are the basic survival things. And when that's taken away from you, as it was in Katrina, that's a massive loss, as if it was a limb. So everyone is in transition in their lives and deciding whether they want to embark on this process of purchase. It's a really meaningful process, so we don't take it lightly. We want you to be super comfortable with this process and not have any fear around it. Is anyone willing to share how they feel about this? Does it feel anxious, or is there some fear around it, or do you feel comfortable?
Very scary.
Very scary, okay. And are you doing this on your own? Okay, and Giovanni?
I've been in my house for 2.5 years.
2.5 years that you own?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I think part of the process is just learning what your comfort level is. We're gonna talk about the financial part of it, and then we're gonna talk about the search part of it, and then the celebration. But the goal is for you to enjoy the whole process and not be scared of it, and ask any questions you have, so please feel free.
The process is nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're buying a car, it's like a 2-day discomfort maybe, or you're haggling, or you're doing whatever you're doing. When you're buying a house, it's a minimum of 30 days. Unless you're putting down cash, the entire experience has to last a minimum of 30 days, because there's a search process. Even if you found the house on the first day, to the closing table, there are things that have to happen. So I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be super comfortable the whole time, but we'll see. Okay, there are 8 simple steps to home buying, and we're going to go through these. And I've actually got some documents that you can use to fill out any notes you might want to take, and I've got some pens if you need them. So let me give you, this is another presentation we've done, but it's got a place for notes. Okay. So some of the common fears when you purchase a home is that I can't afford to buy a home right now. Does anybody feel that way? Okay, so we're going to talk about how you can leverage the money that you might spend renting, and show you that you can't afford not to buy a home now, because the rates are historically low. When you look at where interest rates are, the cost of money is so historically low. Let's say we look at home.
Yeah, but the house prices aren't.
At this exact moment, they're on a downturn. The market's getting softer. So we've had what's called an adjustment period. When 2006, when things started going down, and 7 and 8, 9, it started coming back up in 2010. We're back to that starting to go down. We're seeing a shift happen. Okay? So interest rates, historically, gosh, in the 70s, they were 15 to 18%. So we have been trending at 4%, not even 5, but 4.1 for years. So the cost of money is very inexpensive relative to paying cash. In fact, most people who have the cash don't use the cash. They want to keep their cash because the market, the investment market, you can make a return of 7 to 10 to 11%. Let's say very conservatively. If you take your cash and you put it in a stock and you're doing it the right way, you could make 7 to 10 to 11% annual return. You're spending 4% on a loan for your home. You see how you've made money? Okay, so that's really important. So you can't afford not to buy a house right now, okay? Another common fear is I should wait until the real estate market gets better. So real estate happens all the time, all year round. There's no better or worse year, depending on what you're looking for. But I can surely tell you that it's always better to take your money and invest it in a home and have equity in a home than it is to give it to someone else, a landlord or an apartment where you get nothing. We're going to show you what that looks like. And I don't have the money for a down payment, so if you are a veteran, you don't have to have any money. You are a veteran? Veterans receive 100% financing with what's called a VA loan.
That was me.
Okay, so let's say you're buying a $100,000 property. You need $3,500. Does that make sense? You're buying a $200,000 property, you need $7,000, and so on. That's the bare minimum. There are restrictions and guidelines with receiving an FHA loan, and you either qualify or you don't qualify. The next tier would be a 5% down loan, and then it goes up from there. 10% down, you might get a better rate, and then 20% down. You certainly get the best rate, and you certainly don't have PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. Every time you have a loan under 20%, there is an insurance amount that's tacked onto your monthly bill, okay? We're gonna break all those things down for you. So your best scenario is to put down 20% of your sales price. The wonderful thing, Jessica, is that you don't have to have any money other than your closing costs, and we're gonna come up with that, okay? I can't afford to buy my dream home. Well, we're here to deliver the dream of home ownership, but it doesn't mean that right out of the gate you're gonna have your dream home. You're here to talk about buying your first home.
Right.
There are steps. When someone walks in and says, I wanna go from 0 to 60 in a Lamborghini, I tell them, okay, well, it's all right to get in the Honda at the beginning, okay? All right, these are the 8 steps to buying a home. Decide to buy. The fact that you're here, you've raised your hand to start the rest of your life. This is the beginning of your journey. You've decided to buy. Hiring your agent. We're going to talk about that. We certainly hope we earn your business. We don't take it for granted. We don't assume anything, but we're here to add value to your life. Secure your financing. We're going to talk about what that looks like. Find your home, which nowadays is different than finding your home 5 years ago even. Making an offer, performing your due diligence, which is inspections and making sure the house works for you, closing, referring your great agents, I'll zip that in there, and then protecting your investment. Because what we find is folks will buy a home and then they won't maintain it, and then there's deferred maintenance. When you go to buy a home, you notice that person hasn't taken care of their home. That brings the value of the home down. And it doesn't work for people when they go to resale. It's very important for us to make sure your asset is taken care of, and when you go to resell it, whatever happens, you get the most amount of money for it. Okay. Deciding to buy, we talked about the net worth of a renter versus the net worth of an owner. Vastly different. This is an average, a national average. Again, deciding to buy, we talked about annual appreciation of a home. We talked about what interest rates look like. If you were to purchase a home, you would have annual appreciation of a home, and then you would have a certain home worth. If you were to rent a home, you would ultimately have paid out almost the same amount that you've paid out in a mortgage, and you own nothing. Okay? Now, this is a very emotional decision, so I want you to know that whatever you embark in this process, it's important to embark with someone whom you trust, so that you can feel that you can be transparent with your agent. Here in Georgia, we have agents that represent the buyers. There are also agents who represent the sellers. There are some people who think they'll get a better deal if they go directly to the listing agent and make an offer, while that listing agent is representing the seller and has the seller's best interest at heart. The buyer's agent is strictly responsible and there to represent your interest as a buyer. So make sure that you understand the difference. That listing agent will still take the entire commission, and there will be no deal to be had, because that's the agreement they have with the listing, with the seller. The buyer's agent is compensated for their job by the seller. So it's free to the buyer. So who wouldn't want to hire a buyer's agent, since it's A, free, and B, you have someone representing your interests, and especially when you pick the Ben Kinney team, and we're very good at negotiations and very influential. So just some things to think about. But it's an emotional decision, and we understand that. It's also a rational decision, and we've talked about this. The number one